We walk what I'm calling a Dallas Cowboys corridor. As you can tell, we are at a Cowboys home game. Yes, I understand that we are in Los Angeles, Inglewood, technically SoFi Stadium, but this is basically AT&T West. So follow me this way. We're gonna see if we can find a couple of fans. We are infiltrating enemy territory. The Cowboy fans are doing it right. We got the signage, we got the great food, we got the inflatables. Thoughts on today's game?
We're gonna beat the shit out of them.
Woo! You see this right here? How do you feel about today's game?
We better win, that's all I know.
How do you feel about Dak Prescott after last week's performance?
Dak Prescott has been very consistent with the division. He has took us back-to-back 12-5 seasons. You know what I mean? He has winning records above. You can say what you want about the past 7 years, but on our division, he has been owning it for years.
Are you a Dak rider or are you a Dak hater?
Before he broke his finger, I was a rider. Now, nah. They need to let him go now.
You know Dak Prescott's watching this right now, right? Actually follows the CanFan podcast.
Look.
Woo! Let's go!
Let's go, baby! Cowboys Nation, son! Let's go! Cowboys Nation represent! Cowboys Nation represent! Let's go!
Crack 'em if you got 'em.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, son. All day, every day.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, Seattle.
Here we are at Lumen Field. And is that a Harry Potter reference? Maybe. I don't know. I've casted a lot of Lumen spells.
Lumen videos.
We want to see Deuce represent. We want to see him repeat. I want some repeats. And I don't need 3 beats if they repeat.
I don't need 3 beats.
I don't need
if
3
they
beats.
repeat.
If they repeat. Let's go.
You don't think we're gonna make the postseason?
Maybe wild card.
So this is
Maybe wild card.
This is where I'm like, I'm good for a good ribbing, but like to say we're not gonna make the postseason, now I can't even argue with you because you've
Tough.
oh god.
You know it, too. You know it.
Who's your quarterback?
Fucking you got
This is our year.
Look at those beers! Look at those beers! Look at those beers! Look at those beers!
Let's go! Let's go, Cowboys! Let's go, baby! Cowboys Nation showing up!
Most pristine athletes in modern history playing in the NFL. Even the offensive linemen are incredibly athletic. I mean, these guys are over 300 pounds, and you know they can
not only the size, but the speed of the linemen. Are you kidding
fly
me?
on the field.
You're telling me a guy that's 330 pounds meant to block a guy that's 290 pounds is faster than me, a sporty 240?
High 240. High 240. High 240.
I could beat any one of those guys right now, and I've drank a 6-pack.
What? You're wearing Crocs!
My 40 time is better than any of them.
Erroneous! Erroneous!
Erroneous!
Erroneous on all accounts!
I've never been more sure of any.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, son!
Crack 'em if you got 'em, baby. On this fine Sunday, is it the last Sunday of May? I think it's the last Sunday of May. Crack 'em if you got 'em on this last Sunday of May, baby. Welcome to the Cowboys CanFan Sunday service with your boy Anthbess and the Bandwagon Boys.
Yeah, yeah.
But we also have, before I introduce the Bandwagon Boys, I gotta get the big fella in here. Cowboys Chris, what is happening, my friend?
Man, what is going on, the Cowboy CanFan? Hey, it's Sunday service. I had to dress up, you know. Man,
Yes,
it's gonna be a revival today, brother.
I like it. Chris is looking sharp. Bandwagon Boys, how are you feeling? You guys do not look sharp
No,
at all.
we look
I
like
look slouched.
we look like a bag of shit. I'm gonna try to improve it just slightly, but it's not gonna really
Get the shades on. They'll at least they'll block out what the sunglasses act as a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Nobody can actually see what you look like once you put the sunglasses
What is it?
on.
Is this fucking Big Daddy?
It's Big Daddy.
This is Big Daddy.
I'm about to piss on the wall over here.
Hey man, that's one of my favorite movies.
Bandwagon boys, how are you guys doing though?
Feeling good, doing good. It's I love the Sunday service. A nice way to round off the week and catch up on all that Dallas Cowboys news, and of course, crack 'em if you got him. Having our boy Big Chris on.
Get him in you. Crack him if you got him. We got all of us are rolling with the Crackems right now. That feels good. Ad, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'd spent some time reorganizing my setup here. So AJ eyeball tested and he's like, I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I'll say I don't like it. I can't see you right now. It throws me off. I can't see your face. It feels like I'm talking to a computer screen right now, because that's all I see is the back of your computer screen.
I don't mind.
So you have to lean over like that. I told you when you sat down. Can't see you.
I thought it was going to be a little bit more. I just wasn't knowing what to expect, where all the screens were going to be.
Yeah.
And so now I see it. I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
This
but yeah,
is,
that
it throws me off
that's
when
the
I can't
biggest thing.
see. When I can't see you guys,
it's tough.
It throws me off. I got to play off of your cues. I got to play off your takes.
Yep.
And right now, Ad looks like a robot to me because I can't. There he is. There he is. Cowboys, Chris, you're feeling good though. Feeling dapper. Looking dapper.
Well, thank you, man. I am feeling wonderful, man. You know, every day is get closer to the season. Every day.
Every day.
You know, so I'm really excited.
And
really.
It feels good too that we're getting closer, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a little football website countdown or kickoff countdown for the 2024 season. And today is 101 days left.
Wow, we're almost under 101 or under a hundo.
2 more days.
That's okay. That makes me feel better.
Waking up Tuesday, we have less than 100 days to go.
The worst is like after the Cowboys have their annual loss in the wild card round, you look at how many days it is till the season again. And actually, maybe it's not right after because you're usually pretty bummed out, but like the second week or even after the Super Bowl, you look how long it is till kickoff and you're like, oh my God, I got 30 something Sundays until football kicks off again. And I'm glad we're past that. I'm glad we're getting there. The schedule's been released. And actually, before we hop into the stuff we have lined up to talk about today, I got to ask Cowboys Chris, how do you feel about the Cowboys schedule? And do you think compared to prior years they have a good shot, or what do you feel about the schedule? I want to just hear your take on that.
Well, other than a lot of content creators with the doom and gloom, the 9-8 predictions and everything like that, I like to remind people the Cowboys actually play up to competition. Whenever they have a tough schedule, they actually play pretty good. Okay. You know, when they had the easy schedule and they rolled through it, and you saw what happened in the first round, and then a lot of people like, man, we didn't play nobody all year. Well, this year you ain't gonna have no excuse. So if the Cowboys go 12-5 again against this schedule, I think it'll be a proven team and very, 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 very prepared for the playoffs. I'm glad that it's tough. It seemed like every week, except for 2, maybe 3 games this season, it's going to be a battle. Okay, so the Cowboys won't have any excuses this year. You know, like Bill Parcells say, you are who you say, what your records say you are. So if they have a 12-5 season against this record, hey man, you should shut up a lot of people, including the people who hate on our quarterback number 4.
Well, and like you said, the more I look at the schedule, I just can't see this team not winning at least 10 games. I just can't. I can't do it. Yeah, they have some tough matchups, but again, the Cowboys do play up to their competition, and it's not like last season or the season before where they had those weird 4 or 5 stretches where there was just like they weren't playing against hard teams. This year they have a couple pretty tough 4-game stints or 3-game stints to end the season, to start the season, in the middle of the season. So that's a really great way for the team to be kept on their toes. And at the end of the day, if you're a fan, you want them to be playing against the hardest teams or the best teams, because there's nothing worse than waking up for us, and soon for you, Chris, now that you're going to be on the West Coast, waking up for one of those 10 a.m. games to just a snoozer, right? Like watching them play Carolina in the 10 a.m. slot or something, or like, you know, multiple games where it's just, you feel like they're going to win before you even get into them. So when you go up and down the schedule, it feels like each week's going to be extremely important. And even if they do drop a game, they don't have much time to get their shit together because usually right after the next team is going to be pretty good too. So I like your take on that. I agree. There's a lot of doom and gloom with the Cowboys with the Cowboys record and team right now. And I'm not as down on it as I was, say, maybe the first week of free agency. I like what the Cowboys look like right now, and I'm excited for the season.
Yeah, we got you forgot to mention some love to the chat, so I'm just gonna hit some comments in your guys' conversation there. What do you guys think Ultra Cowboys? AJ can see my screen, so what do you think Ultra Cowboys record for the season is gonna be this year?
13-4.
You saw in the chat.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's just
this is what I don't understand about it. He said it was gonna be 13-4, but he hates everything about the Cowboys. I'm like, which one is it? Do you cheer for the Cowboys or do you hate the Cowboys?
Well,
I don't understand.
It makes me nervous.
13-4, and every time you say something nice about the Cowboys, oh, they suck. Oh, Dak needs to go.
Well,
how are they going to go 13-4 if Dak sucks?
He goes, Chris just got back from church praying for a playoff QB, hoping for that miracle.
No, I dressed up for my Canadian brothers.
That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see and hear. But yes, a chat, we welcome you here. Thank you for stopping by on Sunday to listen to us talk some shit about the Dallas Cowboys. And I say shit, I don't mean that in a bad way, because we all love the Cowboys and we love what they do. What do we have happening this episode, fellas?
We're going to be talking, well, to kick things off here, about Dak Prescott's I don't play for money contract and the kind of fallout, quote, and the fallout of that, and his ongoing contract. Is it a dispute? I don't know. Then there was a post by Ceedee Lamb that maybe was a little bit cryptic. We're going to dive into that and kind of try to break down, solve the hieroglyphic messaging within that. And then finally, OTAs, and this is in no order, by the way. OTAs happened or are happening.
Happened last Wednesday, but we didn't have a show last Wednesday, so we're hitting it up. We're going to talk about some shit that happened in OTAs.
That's right.
Last Wednesday.
Maybe we let our guests decide what topic we go down the rabbit hole of today. Since AJ said there's no
what are my options again? What are my options?
So yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
We have Ceedee Lamb making a post on IG, kind of cryptic. We wanted to kind of look at it and get some opinions on that. Dak made a comment saying that he's playing for the love of the game, not for money. So we're going to kind of look at his little presser that he did that was causing some controversy, and then just kind of recap the OTAs because we didn't have a show the last 2 weeks basically, or last two shows we missed, Sunday and Wednesday.
Well, we can talk about Dak.
Let's talk about Dak.
I love talking about the Dak.
My whole thing about this, everyone has something to say about a professional quarterback and how much money they make. Man, we all know it's a tier system. Each year, if you're a winning quarterback, you're going to be the highest paid, and then somebody else is going to be the highest paid. Then somebody else is going to be the highest paid, and then somebody else is going to be the highest paid.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Dak, said that he don't play for the love of money, I believe him. But we all know Dak is going to get paid. He's going to get a lot of money to do what he does. So yeah, you could say that when you're making $1 billion,
Yeah.
You could say that, but I don't fault him for it. I mean, I actually do believe Dak plays for the passion of the game. I think he's a very passionate guy, even though he does the political speak as a Cowboy quarterback, which I hate. I wish he really just would say what's on his mind sometimes. But, I believe him. I don't think he does play for the money, even though Dak is going to get paid heavily.
Well, yeah, because you have when Dak comes out and says that he doesn't play for the money, and then you have everybody going, okay, well then take $20 million a year instead of X amount of millions a year. But that's not how it works, because it's just the hierarchy of the NFL is quarterbacks make X amount of dollars and top 10 quarterbacks make X amount also, right? So by Dak saying that he doesn't play for the money, it's not him saying, oh, I'm going to take a pay cut and get paid what a top 20 or the 25th ranked quarterback makes, right? Like he's still going to make the amount of money that these top quarterbacks get paid. But a lot of people take this as him, okay, well, if you don't play for the money, then why don't you take a pay cut? Which you're never, ever going to see in the NFL. If you have a quarter or at any position, nobody's going to take a lesser pay than what they're worth, essentially.
So this is Dak Prescott's comments on his exact comments on this contract situation. I know my business will take care of itself, just controlling what I can control. And his reply to why he has been able to be so patient. I don't play. This is the comment.
This is the zinger.
This is the zinger. I don't play for money. ... I'll leave that to the business people to say what it's worth, what they're supposed to give a quarterback of my play. It's about controlling what I can control, handle that part of everything else, and everything else will take care of itself.
Exactly. And people are snipping the quote for the I don't play for money.
Yeah.
Without following it up with the I'll let what I get paid essentially by my team.
Yeah.
That's going to get what I'm worth in the NFL, right? So
here's kind of the ironic thing is the players who probably like I'm on board with Chris. I do believe that in his mind he's like, I don't care. You guys figure it out, and I'm just going to go out there and play football. That's essentially what he's saying. Like, but obviously, if Cowboys and his agent agreed, hey, we think it's a great deal for you to play for $0 this season, he's going to fire that guy and find a new one, right? Like he's not so stupid. But the irony of it all is the players who are, I think, live in that type of mindset are the ones who actually don't need to worry about, because we're talking about a difference between 50 million and 55 million, which of course, like $5 million is life-changing to all of us right here, right? But in this scenario, that's just his NFL contract. It's not including any endorsements, et cetera, the other monies that he's making. So I think it's funny that in Dak Prescott's one of, a tier of players in the NFL who have that same mindset, but they literally don't have to care because they're going to get paid such a significant amount. But there are lots of players in the NFL and in sports in general who do play for money, right? Like they're playing this because they're like, look, I can make 1.2, maybe 2 million, bank 1.2 or 2 million over 4 years, maybe squeeze out a 5th year or 6th year if I can. But that's kind of the length of a NFL player's contract. And they do play for money as much as I'm sure they have to love the sport to put their bodies through that and to put the time and effort into it. So I just find that kind of like ironic. The people who don't really need to care
can say they don't.
Probably mean it more when they say that than the person who's like fighting for that 3rd spot on the team.
Well, that's the only reason that I don't need that $5 million right now is because I do what I'm doing right now in my life for the love of it.
That's right.
That's the only reason. That's
right.
The only reason I'm doing it. That's the only reason. Just so you guys know.
I don't think you're telling us the complete truth there.
No, that's not true. I would do some messed up shit for that $5 million that AJ was talking about. I would do. Trust me. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, you see how all this got blown out of context by just taking the snippet. I don't play for money. But you read the whole thing and then it's self-explanatory. But then they always try to make him the bad guy on this whole money situation. The quarterback is never a bad guy. I mean, you play that position for many reasons, because you can throw the ball and you're good at it. Now, Dak is a very good quarterback in the NFL. If you're a very good quarterback, you're going to get paid.
Yes, sir.
So I don't understand why it's so upsetting to people that Dak is going to make a certain amount of money this year. He has proven it. He's proven it, guys. I mean, but hey, like I said, I'm a hashtag Dacker. So, you'll never get me on not paying him or extending him. I'm always going to be like, remember those 17 between Romo and Aikman. That's all I got to say.
Well, in my mind, they were dumb for not extending him sooner, because then they could have one, used some of the money they saved with getting some of the free agents we could have used. And two, it's the cheapest he's ever going to be again. Even if he goes in and doesn't have a MVP caliber season like he did last year, his value is still going to be the same in the market. It's not going to go down. For Dak's price to go down after this season, he would have to, I don't even know, he'd have to flop terribly. Like he'd have to have the worst season ever. And even if he did have his worst statistical season, I still think he's going to get paid more at this time next year than if they would have just paid him right now or in January or February or March, whenever the hell you would have wanted to pay him. So I think they fumbled it a little bit. Not only did they fumble his last contract with kind of not being able to get out of it a little bit easier, but they've already fumbled paying him going into his next contract.
I believe that the way that a team breaks down their how much they're going to play a player because of like how it's fairly consistent in how they go up. It might be like it might boost up every 3 or 4 years just due to the contract rotation, but basically it's like teams are looking to spend anywhere between the lower percentage they can, but like a high of like 20% of their or 22% depending the year of their available salary cap on QBs. So you factor in that, plus look at what's the increase on average, and we were just talking about this before. The salary cap increases on average about 7% every year since like 2011. That's an average. So if you factor that in, that just shows you how much contracts are going to be up in 2 years. They're going to be, if the salary cap's increased 14% or roughly that, then that just means if you wait 2 years, your contract is going to be the 17 or 20% of that amount, which is just increased. So it's going to seem like, oh, now we could have signed him for 50. Now we're paying him for 60. But the reality is, yeah, but it's still entirely in line with how much space that quarterback eats up. So that's how I've been changing my way to look at it.
But if you paid him before the salary cap goes up, well, now next year you have a deal on it. Like you even have a better deal.
You do, but it's got, but like
I'm not saying that the 50 and the 60 or whatever that 7% ends up being. Yeah. It's essentially the same amount. The way I'm looking at it is more so if they paid him right now, say for 50, and then next year he's only getting paid 50, and the next year he's only getting paid 50. Well, now he's year one he's 7% deal. The second year he's a 14% deal type thing instead of waiting till next year. For sure.
But it's either way. As if you plan on having that quarterback for the contract, it will eventually even out.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Definitely.
But this, to your point, I think this would be the year that you'd want to have that
sooner.
Caps
Even last year, they should have extended him before his MVP season type season this year. If they would have extended him in 2023 at the start of 2023 and paid him fucking he probably 50 would have people would have been crying about that. But right now, you'd have one of the best deals in the NFL for your quarterback.
Yeah,
so
that's true. But yeah, I mean, look, I think we are all in agreement. They took Dak's words, they twisted them, and they sold them. They tried to sell us. They sold us a ham sandwich that's 90% shit. Okay.
Well, especially because every content creator out there, especially the ones that hate the Cowboys and the ones that hate Dak, it's very easy to just take that snippet of "I don't play him up for money" and post it on a picture of his face.
Well,
and it'll rile people up right away.
The funny thing is, it's like, it's all right there, right? And this is the scary thing, not to bring up politics, not to get
you always do this.
I do. But look, it's good for both Canada and the U.S. We're entering into, in the next like 12 months here, it'll start to, well, I think the U.S. is this year maybe, but Canada, it's next year. But like, we're going into this election season. So, but this is just like, it's part and parcel with people on the internet, right? Like you see the quote, you could just go look it up yourself. We did it right here. Could have done it in a minute, less than a minute, but we've, been stretching it for our audio listeners and video watchers. But it's the quote here is, it explains itself. Just like Chris mentioned earlier, like he definitely is not saying I don't play football for money. Even though that's the quote.
Exactly. He's just gonna let the people that he's hired figure that out, and he's not gonna worry about it.
And those guys are going to be like, well, if I'm getting a percentage of this or however it works out,
they want as much. Those agents, they want as much as they can get. Sam Leaf, we know your moves.
Yeah.
Speaking of agents, 21 Armando's in the chat, and he says Big Fella looks like Dak's agent right now with that suit.
That's
on.
right.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh man, I'd love to see Big Chris sitting down with Jerry.
Oh, I'd love it.
Yeah, Jerry and Mike at a Whataburger, just fucking.
Hey, I bet we get that deal done.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Okay, well,
deal done.
Next up on the docket here.
One last thing about it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Does he get signed to? Does he get a contract extension before season, or do you think he actually plays out his contract this year?
Man.
Honestly, and I don't know, but I think the Cowboys would make a big mistake if they don't. Let's say God's with us this year and the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. You think that number is going to be the same?
Oh man, and that's and that's my worry. That's kind of my worry because now he's outpaced that 7% with the salary cap. He's going up. Like if they win, I would be stoked. I'd be stoked, but
if they lose by 1 point in the NFC Championship game, you think that number's the same?
Hell no.
No.
Hell no.
So I think it's just smart of the Cowboys to go ahead and get it done now. You know, because you still got Ceedee, who's probably going to hold out. Then next year you got Michael Parsons. You know, so you need to take care of what you need to take care of immediately. And to me, he is the future, not anybody else. Dak is their future. So you need to take care of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, Big Chris. I mean, Trey Lance has been looking pretty good in OTAs.
Hey, I look good on camera, and I know I can't play.
Got him.
Hey, you can look good in shorts and t-shirts. You know, it's a lot of combine warriors. We all know that. You know, hey, I still can't get past you, the number 3 overall pick, and you get cut over Mr. Irrelevant. I'm sorry that I can't get past that, man. You know, if you were supposed to be the Niners' future, and I respect the Niners organization, I respect their coaching staff, and if they were ready to get rid of you, that's an issue for me. They got rid of him for a 5th round pick, and he was number 3 overall. Remember, they didn't have back-to-back first-round picks just because of him.
They traded up because of him.
And they could have 100% afforded to hang on to him for at least up until his 5th-year option, right? Like,
at least,
you know.
One thing too, sorry, AJ, just but because Cowboys Chris had mentioned if they don't pay him and he wins the Super Bowl as price tag, I'll take that hit though, by the way. If the Cowboys win a Super Bowl and they have to pay Dak $75 million going on forward, we got that Super Bowl. I'll say that. That would be at least it would be a nice consolation prize, I'd say. But I know
it's gonna be those Cowboy fans if that happened. Why you got to make 75? He only won 1. Oh man, it ain't gonna be no winning, win.
He's got 1. You know who else has 1? Yeah.
So
Eli Manning has 2.
My one last. If I can,
do
say
it.
One last.
One last.
You know, we'll keep one last until there is a real one last. The one thing I'm concerned about though with Dak is, does he just get like too exhausted from this and decide like, you know what, I'm just gonna go play somewhere else?
Oh,
and like that's my worry with the contract running out, because he might be like, okay, now I'm in no rush. Let's say he has an average season, gets the Cowboys into the playoffs again, wins the first round, out second round. He's still going to get a lot of people throwing money at him, who a lot of teams interested. Cowboys are going to have to. I don't think he's going to give Cowboys a hometown deal unless, this is my worry, the blood starts to go bad. You get some bad blood in there, and now he's like, yeah, I'm just not going to give you guys a favor. Like, you're going to have to beat this team by $5 million or something like that.
Which will happen if they don't extend him and they let him go to the open market. And he came off a good season. Why would you want to go back to the team that wasn't?
I say even just an average season because it's hard to find a quarterback like him who can turn it on, and we've seen that happen.
Oh, somebody will. If Dak hits the open market, there's going to be teams that can outbid the Cowboys 100%.
AJ, I like to answer your question.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks win the first round?
How many quarterbacks win the
6.
first? Damn, dude. Yeah.
It was 6, right?
Yep, 6.
So 6 teams in the NFL is looking for a quarterback, right?
And
so normally,
and checking our draft board right now.
Just looking at a draft board. 6 in the top 12.
So 6 in the top 12, right? So we know out of 6 of the top 12, maybe 2 will hit.
Yeah.
Okay. So the same teams are going to be looking for a quarterback next year also. Let Dak hit the free agent market and watch what happens.
Oh, the Cowboys don't get him, and then we watch him win a Super Bowl with another team, and that would just be
who's had 2 low round picks the last 2 years.
Denver after flubbing the Russell Wilson thing, and then drafting Bo Nix will be throwing a record breaking deal at Dak Prescott with what's his face there in the helm. Can't think of his name right now. The coach.
Yeah, it is scary if they don't, because I don't think it will happen mid-season.
No, they got to get it done. There is some things out there. People are saying with the June 1st stuff, they're just waiting until after that to get it done.
I know, and I looked into that a little bit, so don't quote me on that, but I read it as it was the opposite. Like, you want to sign before that date, but don't, like, maybe there is some, it's all this
hearsay,
financial
he said
magic. Yeah, he should.
By the seashore.
He said by the seashore. I mean, chat. We haven't hit chat. Chat's pretty.
Chat it up. Chat it up.
First of all, for chat.
Well, fuck. I'm not letting AJ go at chat by himself. Crack me if you got him, chat.
I mean, are you guys ready to spar? Because chat is not happy with a lot of our Dak answers. Do you want?
That's okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so we got.
This is the conversation we want.
So it's like his ears were burning because as soon as we started talking about Dak, Barry Grant Jr., the All Even podcast, shows up into the chat. He goes,
you know he's not happy with anything we said.
He goes, if
Dak.
you don't care about the money, why won't he just take $35 million and help build a roster? Like, I don't understand the fear of losing this guy. It's foolish.
He needs to go back and maybe he did listen and
no. Well, then we have Dak delusional fans with more excuses. That's the guy's name. He goes, Dak is a 9-year rookie. He is still developing. He will get better. He will stop choking. But I think he's being sarcastic.
I was going to say that seems a little tongue in cheek.
because he goes year 9 and Dak fanboys believe Dak is going to win the Super Bowl. That's ultra cowboy.
The thing with being a fanboy, like a Dak fanboy, I wouldn't even necessarily say I'm a Dak fanboy. I did watch him last year. He was the best quarterback in the NFL. Did he flub in the playoffs? Playoffs, yeah, he did. And is it getting old and tiresome of watching them flub in the playoffs? Yeah, it is. But you know what else would be old and tiresome? Not making the postseason. Teams, like, people forget how shitty it is, and everyone talks about how they're okay with the Cowboys if they didn't make the postseason and then could move on from Dak. That's bullshit. I guarantee the same fans would be the ones having everyone up in arms and with the pitchforks out if the Cowboys don't make the postseason. Like, they're not going to be like, okay, good, at least we get rid of McCarthy and Dak. They're going to be still upset.
Do you guys remember who Peyton Manning was?
Yep.
And how he went for almost his entire season without winning a Super Bowl. I'm not making an argument that, like, I want to wait that long, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, he did it late in his career.
There's one victor in the NFL, like any other sports league, and so obviously, look, if there's another better option out there available, I'd take it in a heartbeat. But yeah, I do think that Dak Prescott has the skills to be part of a Super Bowl winning team, not lose a Super Bowl. Absolutely.
Yeah, and to piggyback you, AJ, you know, it's a lot of great quarterbacks only won one. Drew Brees only won one. Aaron Rodgers only won one. You know, and these are Hall of Fame, you know, quarterbacks, okay? And then there's quarterbacks who will not even sniff the Hall of Fame, won Super Bowls. Dude, it's just having a team, a complete team. But, of course, Cowboy fans love to blame you know, number 4 for their miseries, but they won't go back and watch the game and the Cowboys down 28, but they're going to blame Dak for the loss. Did you blame your defensive coordinator for changing the whole defensive scheme for you to be down 28-0 against a team that basically barely made it to the playoffs? But that was Dak's fault too, right? So, hey, if you hate Dak, you just hate Dak, you know, but, you know, at least be realistic about it.
Dak is not without fault, but I guess my epiphany I just had here was like, okay, if we did trade Dak for an equivalent QB, I'm not sure that you're really going to find anyone who's far better than him available right now. Things could change this year. Do you think that's enough? Do you think that's the big problem that's stopping the Cowboys from winning? Because when I watched the Green Bay game from last year, sure, Dak threw those picks, but there was also, I don't think the Cowboys were winning the game without.
They couldn't run the football. The defense couldn't stop a fart. There was that whole team. The whole team just collapsed, and that's why during the game and certainly right after the game, I was okay with possibly a coaching change. And if they didn't get rid of Mike McCarthy, I would have rather seen them just outright fire Dan Quinn. I do wish somebody would have been held a little bit accountable for that game because it was a shit show. That game was awful. The 6th or the 2nd seed getting beat by the 7th seed, like it was pretty dog shit. But it was the whole team. Like the whole team played bad.
Yeah, ask me, have anybody seen Michael Parsons since then?
he was sumo wrestling in Japan.
Yeah, he should have been sumoing against that Green Bay game.
That's right.
P.S. Michael Parsons' birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Micah.
birthday,
we know
Micah.
you don't watch us.
But if you do, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Get to OTAs, you bum.
Dak delusional fans with more excuses says Dak is not on the same trajectory as Peyton Manning. Then there's another person in here that was backing up AJ's comment named JV Baboy. Says Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl in his 9th year. Dak stats are better than Peyton Manning in 8 years. That's just taking that what he's saying as
now.
Absolute.
And AJ's not saying that Dak and Peyton are the same type of player, but he's saying that there's times that there's quarterbacks that win later on.
That's exactly what AJ's. That's what I was getting at there. Like if Peyton Manning didn't win a Super Bowl until his 9th season, and yet Dak has better stats than Peyton Manning did in those first eight years of Peyton Manning not having a Super Bowl.
Right, but
different games though.
It's also two things. Number one, what would we be talking about? How would we speak about Peyton Manning if he was a Super Bowl-less quarterback that had all his other stats? That's just that's just something for you guys to think about.
Best quarterback that never won a Super Bowl.
But number two, Peyton Manning did get traded to another team or hit free agency, went to another team and won those Super Bowls.
No, he won it with the Colts.
He won one with
the Colts, and then he won one with the Broncos.
Right.
Made two with the Broncos.
Speaking of the Broncos, John Elway, it was his 12th year.
Yeah.
When they got, it was year 12 before he won the Super Bowl.
Granted, but he had the postseason success. Like he had made it to a couple Super Bowls, and that's I think the biggest grief for fans is that you just keep singing the same song and dance, right? Like I guaranteed if there would have been in one of Dak's first 8 years an NFC Championship game, the tune on him is a lot different. Instead of him being, what's his record? I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here. I want to say 2-5 in the postseason.
Who's that?
Dak. I'm thinking that's what his record's pretty close to 2-5 in the postseason off the top of my head.
It is.
So that like there is, I mean, I can understand the postseason gripe. I can, but you still have to make it to the postseason. And he is coming off a team that's had 3 postseason trips, 3 12-5 trips. So I just don't think moving on from him right now is the greatest idea. I think they need to figure out his next contract to have an easy out. They just need an easy out of the next contract.
And if someone can pull pull a realistic like scenario of an upgrade or an equivalent sidestep to move on from Dak, I'm all ears. But like I've dug through the internet.
He's dug through the bowels.
And
I've
sleuthed it, and I've not been able to find one that makes sense. Like, of course, it's like, just
let Trey Lance
cut him, and Trey Lance will do this, or trade him for this player, which is just never gonna happen. Like, trade Dak for CJ Stroud, and our problems are solved. It's like, okay,
wait a second. What if they trade him for CJ Stroud?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah.
That's the perfect idea.
Houston will go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Houston goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but like, I'm being a little, but like, I am serious. Like, if there was an
option,
or maybe your option is not just trade them, pay our players now, and wait for 2 or 3 years.
That's the only option.
Okay.
To be honest, that is the only option. The only
then
option.
Say it. Then say it.
The only option of going past Dak Prescott is to cut your losses and try to find the next starting caliber quarterback for your team. The issue with that is, and they're showing that that's what they're planning on doing by not extending him yet. But I'll tell you right now, if they go the whole season without re-signing him and he hits the free market, he ain't a Dallas Cowboy again.
Yeah, that we can't pay him.
They fire Mike McCarthy. They don't bring back Dak Prescott, and they start clean. That's pretty much the only. That's the only going past Dak. That's the only option in my head.
Well,
and then here comes 5-12.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then who knows how many 5-12 seasons till you find the next guy that is a Dak Prescott or a Tony Romo that this fan base hated for some reason. I don't get the hate. The hate for me is more so how the front office has coordinated their quarterback contracts. Like they kind of flubbed his contract this time around. Right. They flubbed it the time before in my mind. So that's where the hate is for me, is how stupid the contracts have been.
Yeah, and unless the point is to move on, like you said,
then fucking let it ride.
Then let it ride, I guess. Yeah.
Let's ride.
Ultra Cowboy says Trey Lance will be the starter in 2025. They're doing what they did with Aaron Rodgers. Greg Nall was QB number 2. Rodgers' first year in Green Bay.
Rewind. He just said 13-4. with Dak Prescott.
And then choking the playoffs.
So how? But I just don't understand that.
Well, I don't understand.
Shock jock. He's a shock jock, bro.
I don't understand. Ultra shows up. Ultra shows up every single week. He's on every. He's in the chat.
Oh, we
every
love
single,
him being there.
but
It's just crazy. So it's just such a crazy, polarizing stance from 13-4 to moving on from that quarterback that just got you to 13.
But what I don't get about Ultra is that sometimes in his comments, the way he talks about us, it's like it's his first time being in chat, and he's just, oh, here's these Dak guys go again. It's like, dude, you're here every week. Like, you know us. You've been here almost every episode for the last 3 years.
I know sometimes people act like we're like Dak Prescott. He's the only option. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. The only reason that he didn't do anything, they didn't win the last 3 Super Bowls is because everybody else fucked up except Dak. No, we're pretty real, and Dak needs to get told that he's playing like shit. We are very vocal about it. Last year, he should have been the MVP in the NFL.
Yep.
He got snubbed, in my opinion. If he would have beat out either Buffalo or Miami with big games, he would have been the NFL MVP. He had a good season last year. It's the truth, but there's times where Dak's played like shit, and we've been the first ones to say it.
Yeah, and the problem is when your quarterback plays like shit, it is really hard for the rest of the team to pick up that slack. If like there's a player in another position playing like shit, you can always figure out a way to like, okay, we're gonna put a Band-Aid on this for this game. But if the quarterback's down, that sucks.
Well, can I put a Band-Aid on my situation with Dak?
Yeah,
my whole thing is, as a Cowboy fan, I want to support my leader. He is the leader of the team. He's positive. He don't get in trouble. The dude does what he's supposed to. He's a positive guy, and he wins, okay? When every Cowboy fan always dog out the leader, how is that positive? Then he is going to want to go somewhere. And then the first thing a Cowboy fan is say, man, he ain't better than Dak. Oh, I wish we had Dak. The same way they did when Romo left. Oh, I wish we had Romo, but you hated him when he was here. So why won't you give him love now? Maybe he can do something with a positive thing, and always being so negative about Dak Prescott. I can see if we were 8-8 every year. We're not 8-8 every year.
Right.
We're not. We're 12-5. So which one do you rather be, 12-5 or 8-8? And then somebody's going to say, it's the same. We still lose in the first round. But then I want to go back to this. We did lose in the first round for 3 straight years, okay? And that's why I'm with Ant getting rid of the head coach then. But the player on the field, Dak Prescott, has improved every year, and he should have won the MVP. And all I'm doing is just pleading the Cowboy fans, get off his back, support the man. That's all I'm saying. And yes, I am a Dacker, but support him. You'll be surprised.
It makes life a lot easier, I say.
I can't stand your guys' guest today. He's a Dacker.
I am.
Hey, let's move from one frustrating conversation,
to just one that's not much better.
to one that's not much better. Ceedee Lamb. Now, Adam, you shared this one, and I want to know the context around this Instagram post, what you saw or what you read.
Okay, so look at the. I don't know if you can. Okay, so
And so you got blonde hair right now?
Yeah.
Cool.
So his caption reads, "Life come with a price. Ian got time for discussions."
I ain't got time.
I know.
Ad just reads it how he sees it.
I ain't got time for discussions.
That's the Canadian
So who the fuck is... What we need to figure out is who is Ian?
So the life come with a price. I mean, and maybe
I like his hairdo, man.
Yeah,
I like it. He's rocking that hairdo right now.
Oh, he's cute.
If you look between,
who's that cute? Who's that
Look
cutie?
at the tongue twist. He's trying to tie a knot in a cherry.
I'm just playing.
So I feel like
Hey, baby. What's
So
up?
how many pictures were there in this post? 3?
No, there's a lot.
Still going.
Oh, there's still more. Okay.
he has them nice and zoomed in. Here, let me just zoom out there while he does it.
Where's he working out here?
I mean, essentially, it shows him working out, and then
It looks like the Raiders stadium. Does he want to be a Raider?
It kind of. I like this one right here, though. Look at this resistance running. Like, it just shows he's training, but he's also waiting around. So it's like, to me, I take it as like, pay me. You know, this comes with a price, and I'm just waiting here for you guys. And I think it's a little bit stirring the pot, showing Cowboys Nation that he is staying in check and working out. But he also looks bored AF. Yeah. And he's like, look, right, that shot right there says, Pay me my money, Jerry. Pay me my money, Jerry.
I mean, I think we're all going to agree that they should have signed. They should sign him tomorrow. In my mind, they should have paid him already. They should have paid him before. Who got picked up? Who was the first guy that went? Amon St. Brown.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they would have signed him before that, right? So it's kind of like his agents and Jefferson's agents are both kind of at a stalemate.
It's a stalemate for this.
To see who gets paid out first and if your player can get a bigger contract than the other one. We all agree that Ceedee Lamb needs to get paid. Like, he had an amazing season. He was the best offensive player for the Cowboys last year. He had 1,900 yards. He had how many touchdowns? 12, I believe, last year, and like 130 catches. Like, the dude's an absolute stud. This is the thing. You draft certain guys. Not only did Ceedee Lamb fall in the laps of the Cowboys in the COVID season when I believe that was when he was drafted, or the year before that, and they got a superstar now. They got the 88. They got the lineage. You pay him. You just pay him. Give him what he wants, in my mind.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing, too.
But who is Ian? Crack him if you got him.
And yeah, fucking pay him, Ian.
Ian got time for discussion. Ian has time. Jerry, go find Ian and talk to him. Here's the funny thing about it. If I'm Ceedee Lamb, I kind of don't care. Like, obviously, I want to make sure I get my guaranteed money, but the longer that he waits and the more chance that someone else signs that big contract, then, of course, that means, like, okay, now we get to outdo this next one, even if it's just by a dollar. You know, you kind of get that new bar set by another team, makes your contract negotiation a lot easier because, whoever gets signed first, the next guy gets more in the tier that CD's in. So I'm just wondering if he's like he's in the better position, I think, to get the contract that he's looking for.
Man, David Jr. and
I was just going to as AJ's talking, my eyes went to David Jr. AJ, why don't you just read David Jr.'s?
Scroll it over so you can see it. Man, David Jr. is like, it's kind of reminds me of Stan from the Eminem song.
Ceedee, where do I begin? The day the Dallas Cowboys drafted you was... It's a love letter. This is a love letter.
You were trying to do the Eminem song?
I was trying to do it, yeah. I was trying to be like Stan.
I sat and cried thinking about the great receiver you would become. When you scored your first touchdown, I cried once more and couldn't stop. My glorious king, you are the best receiver in the league and a future Hall of Famer. You are more than worthy of the number 88. The day you put that number on, I knew greatness was to come. Please, oh, please stay with the Cowboys. If you leave, I don't know how I'd be able to live on. You leaving the Cowboys would be like my soul leaving my body. I may not have a lot, but I will give anything for you to stay in Dallas. I pray for abundance and happiness for you as long as you live. Thank you, my king. So the crying part, and his soul leaving if Ceedee Lamb left. Come on, David Jr.
Before we get Big Chris's comments on this, what are some of those replies to David Jr. say? They're not going to be nice, I don't think.
They could be. Bro's about to bust. Already dead. I don't think David Jr. knows what he means about bust. Bro's just gagging on that whole thing.
Oh, people are great.
You know what? They were pretty nice to him. I thought he was going to get ripped apart.
Just to wrap that up, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, it can also be included in that echelons, and Ceedee Lamb. They're talking about the market value for Lamb's projection being just under $34 million over 4 years.
Well, didn't Higgins have an issue? He didn't. He was franchise tagged, wasn't he?
Yep.
So he apparently, I don't know if I saw a headline the other day saying that he hasn't shown up or he hasn't reported.
Well, yeah, no one wants to put on a franchise tag, but Higgins and CD aren't even the same.
No, I was going to say like it's the Jefferson one. Like it's Jefferson or CD, whichever's going to sign. They're just it's a stalemate between those two. I don't think it's a stalemate between CD and the Cowboys.
Cowboys, Chris, are you signing CD to a blockbuster deal?
I want to say this real quick. I don't hear Cowboy fans asking CD to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
I don't hear Cowboy fans saying it was CD's fault that they lost the game. He was on the same offense too. CD said on Michael Parsons' show 2 weeks after the season, I want to be the highest paid receiver in the league. He literally said that, right? So he's not coming in until he becomes the highest paid. He's going to be the second He's going to wait till Jefferson signs, and then he is going to sign. The Cowboys are going to have to pony up on this one. But I can say the boy's worth it.
Yes.
He's worth every penny of it. Every penny. Because, once again, a player on the field proved himself on the field. Okay? I thought he was going to struggle once they got rid of Amari Cooper. He did not.
He got better. He got better,
He got better. So, to me, each year, I'm expecting him to get better. And that's because after he went and told his head coach, give me the damn ball, and they started giving him the damn ball, you saw what happened.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's one of those things, man. The Cowboys got to sign him. It's no if and buts about it. They wait till the last minute for no reason. It bothers me, but there's nothing we can do. We know how Jerry does business, and it's always going to be last minute. It's going to be last minute with Dak. It's going to be last minute with Ceedee, and it's definitely going to be the last minute with Michael Parsons.
Well, do you think it's the Cowboys are waiting, or do you think CeeDee's the one that's stopping it from, because he does want to be the highest paid? So because Jefferson's,
I'll just make him the highest paid then.
Make him the highest paid, and then at least you said when you signed him, you were the highest paid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
like if they threw $35 million at him a year, they're not turning that down. Like there's no way. I mean, that there's just not a chance they're turning that down. And the craziest thing about CeeDee's season last year was the first 5 games he was barely even utilized. He was barely even utilized. If you go back and look at his last 12 games, the guy was on an absolute tear, man. He was unbelievable. He was by far the best wide receiver in the NFL weeks 5 through 18, but bar none. If he would have had the first 5 games even near what he was averaging for his last games, he would have broke 2,000 yards. He would have beat Tyreek Hill in every category. So that's exciting for me going into this next season. And I want them to pay him because I don't want him to miss any time. The more time you can build on him and Dak's chemistry, like, it does matter. I know these guys are superstar athletes and they're in the 1 percentile or less of what they can do with their feet and hands, but get him in the building as fast as possible.
Technically, though, just what you said, he could hold out until week 5 or the bye week and still come in and have a monster season based on last year's results.
You don't want that, though.
No, of course not.
You do not want. You do not want that.
Who would be the starting receivers that CeeDee?
Oh man, your top 3: Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, and then
Ferguson.
It's going to be wide receivers.
No, I know, but it's going to be Brandon Cooks, then Ferguson, then
but
Tolbert.
but Ferguson's going to be there regardless. Think of wide receivers though.
Wide receiver.
Think wide receiver though.
Yeah,
sure, he might be. Ferguson would probably be your actually top target.
Receiver, top
but the point is you don't have receivers. If you're even mentioning the tight end in his 3rd year as your top receiver, that's another reason why you have to sign Ceedee Lamb. Ad feels like I'm getting mad at him right now.
Ant's getting mad, and it's weird because with how I have it set up and where the camera's positioned, the lens is on your one eye, so it's like you're an android yelling at me.
and GPT.
Anth GPT's getting me.
Be nice to your brother.
The effect.
Thank you, Chris.
Like technically, a quarterback's a lot harder to replace than a wide receiver. However, in the case of Ceedee Lamb, and considering the surrounding talent in that position with the Cowboys, he's almost a priceless heirloom. Like I said, it is easier, just for argument's sake, to find a caliber wide receiver who can get the job done. I'm not saying that you're going to find a Ceedee Lamb easy. That's needle in a haystack. But to find a starting QB, if the Cowboys are looking at this as like which one's the harder thing to do, it technically is harder to find that caliber of quarterback.
Oh yeah, there's 12 people on the planet that can play quarterback decent in the NFL.
Right.
And Dak's not one of them.
And Dak isn't even one of them.
Not to take away like
sign him.
Sign CeeDee, get him.
Sign Dak, sign CeeDee.
Figure it out, and then figure out the rest.
And I mean, Michael Clark in the chat saying Brooks, Cropper, Flournoy, Kroons, Billy Johnson, and Turpin. I mean,
that's not good.
No, it's, hey, I hope 1 or 2 of them pan out, but that's not something
they ain't panning out if you don't have Ceedee Lamb on the field.
But think about it. If you don't sign Ceedee to a $35 million contract, think of all that money you have to spread out to other subpar wide receivers.
Hey,
after free agency's basically done.
You remember when they traded for Amari Cooper?
Yeah, it was
You know
awesome.
why? Because they had that same caliber of receivers that's backing up CD.
Yep.
They had nobody.
Yeah.
And Jerry Jones like, oh, I made a mistake. I better go trade for a number 1 wide receiver.
And it paid off. And it paid off instantly.
Exactly.
Almost instantly. As soon as they got Amari Cooper, they were back in playoff contention.
Yeah, why would they make that same mistake? Don't do that.
Please don't do that. Okay, guys, we're moving on to 10 observations from Wednesday's OTA practice. We couldn't go over it last Wednesday because we weren't in studio. So we're going to look over it.
Someone had a little a flu bug.
Oh,
someone's stomach was sore. Oh.
Hey, Chris, you tell them now to stop making fun of me.
Please stop making fun of your brother.
Thanks, Chris.
Sorry, big Chris.
Guys,
Fine, Chris.
you're disappointing Chris. Fellas, did you read any of this or
No,
anything
I
about
did
OTAs?
I did.
I knew Ad didn't. I don't know why I asked if Ad read over it.
I'll scroll down though. And
I saved it for the show.
Yeah, that's good too. I like that.
You've probably read or heard this stuff anyways. So I'm just going to go point by point. And if anyone's got anything to say about it, stop. Actually, before we even jump into this, Big Chris, anything that was hot on your mind coming out of OTAs, or do you just want to jump into this list here?
You can jump into it because to me, it's the T-shirt Olympics. It was just happy to see the Cowboys on the football field. So, you know, that's all it is. OTAs to me is, hey, everybody showed up. It's just like a big conference. Hey, we're back. We're going to play football in about a month. Is everybody in shape? Yeah, you better be in shape. Okay. And here's the new playbook. And that's where we're going. That's what OTAs is basically about.
Get a couple butt slaps in there.
Okay, go hit the showers.
Slaps and just to see if the rookies has studied the playbook or not. That's what OTAs is really about. I mean, because you can't tell crap in T-shirts.
They're all going to look good.
But yeah, just like Trey Lance is throwing the ball so wonderful. Yeah, ain't nobody rushing to hit him to knock his head off either.
And I know that we always say, well, you're an athlete, you're a professional athlete, you get paid to do these things. But when you look at some of these YouTubers or analysts who have been showing like this is what a rookie has to deal with when they come to a team and they show the playbook and they go through all the stuff, it's like, holy shit. Yeah, no wonder all the rookies and all these new players or people who've been slacking should be a mandatory thing for them to get in as soon as fucking possible. So that they know, do you know the plays? And then you're just walking through these things.
AJ, you want to toss me on there, son?
I will.
He was trying to wave.
I know. Well, Ad was talking. I was trying to do so much. I was like, I just got to say something. Otherwise, he's never going to fucking see me.
Yeah, but and I agree with you, Adam, because I tell people all the time, you can't be dumb to play football. You can't be dumb. Because these playbooks are like dictionaries.
Encyclopedias, man. The old school encyclopedias.
Yeah, I mean, and basically, if you learn concept, that's basically what the coaches want to do. Learn the concept, and then you can learn the plays. And basically, that's what OTAs is about. You're learning the concept of the offense, the defense, and then the plays come second.
Yeah, you want when you can play when you're not thinking about what you have to do, and you're just it's just a muscle memory or subconsciously in there. That just speeds you up that 0.1 second or whatever it might be. And in the NFL, that's a stride that you can get on a player. So it can make a major difference. The first note here is Ezekiel Elliott is being viewed as the lead running back. But it's already beginning to look like a committee approach, as we've heard already from
everyone. And I think everyone knew that. Can you just scroll up a little bit? Because it showed guys that weren't in here. Players not present included Ceedee Lamb, holdout, Micah Parsons, player decision, original gangster of Zach Martin, undisclosed, DeMarcus Lawrence, undisclosed, and CB Trevon Diggs, injury recovery, undisclosed. Players that were working with the rehab group or not participating at all due to injury included Mozzie Smith, shoulder, Luke Scooney, hamstring,
out again.
DeMarvian, Overshown, ACL recovery. So our top 3 picks from the 2023 draft class, defensive tackle, Osa Odigizua, undisclosed, tight end John Stevens Jr., ACL recovery, and wide receiver David Durden.
David, I'm not Tyler Durden.
ACL recovery. So there's a lot of, so when people, because a lot of guys were giving Micah Parsons shit for not being there and not being the leader and not being there learning the playbook. Well, 2 big leaders of the locker room in Zach Martin and DeMarcus Lawrence also aren't there, and you don't see them getting any heat for that. So that's just an interesting little tidbit.
And what about Trevon Diggs?
Yeah. Well, he's injured.
You probably won't see him till probably the late in training camp, probably.
Crack him if you got him, son.
Crack 'em if you got 'em.
3 topics, 3 crack 'ems. That's how I roll.
All right, here's the next well, sorry to hit that back. Zeke Elliott is being viewed as the top RB in the room, but it's beginning to look like a committee approach with Rico Dowdle splitting nearly all of the first team reps on Wednesday.
Excited about it. Excited to see Rico and what he can do, because I still believe in my heart of all hearts that Rico deserved more carries last year.
Agreed. And I think that's the way that I kind of like to see it. If there is no standout lead back, then spread the ball around. Obviously, that sucks for fantasy football because I'm going to have one of those RBs sitting on my bench all season.
You got to do it.
But
gotta do it, because if one of them gets injured, well, now the other one just got a substantial overload of carries.
Yeah, and what we're looking for in a committee is what, 1,200, 1,300 rushing yards and 10, 12 touchdowns. Like, that would be considered a success. Obviously, if a player had that, you'd be like, okay, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
As a committee.
Well, yeah, because that's an interesting question, because the bar for starting running backs, like the predominant rusher of the group
outside of the CMCs,
but like the bet, like, so even out of a committee, you usually have that one guy that if he gets over 1,000 yards, you're like, okay, he's the clear cut number one. So when you say, and when I think committee, I'm pretty much only thinking between Rico and Zeke. Like, if between Rico and Zeke, they could have 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns, I think that's a super successful season for those guys.
Yep. Cool. Next note here, Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe.
Beebe, baby.
They'll need to earn their way into the starting roles in 2024 because they are beginning their journey as second-team rep all-stars with Idoga and Hoffman taking the starting roles to open OTAs.
I want to hear, Chris, what do you think? You played offensive line. What do you think of this kind of take on letting the guys that weren't drafted have the starting role in OTAs?
Well, we knew that that's going to happen. As a rookie, you're never going to just walk in OTAs being the starter. You know, you still got a learning curve and everything like that. Now, out of the two, Tyler or Cooper, I am expecting Tyler to start. Cooper Beebe, man, like I said, I keep telling people, but they won't listen. But you know, hey, I don't know anything. I only play offensive line. Yeah. That it's hard to go from guard to center. You know, it's not from center to guard. But you know, people won't listen to me, and people like, no, it's super easy.
He's been practicing since high school, okay, Chris?
Well, it's funny that Chris said that because that was one of what AJ said right off the get-go.
That's 100. Yeah, that's what AJ's hot take was.
And when AJ said it, Ad and I bought into it. And now that we got Cowboys Chris, who played offensive line,
he stamped it.
Played center.
Chris played center. So you're stamping it. Like, that was our worry. But again, like the Mozzie Smith pick, I've been convinced that Cooper Beebe's a great pick and he's going to excel from day one. So I like to get brought down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know, now don't get me wrong.
You hate
actually
him.
once I watched the film and everything, I said this kid's a mauler. Why would you switch his position when he mauls people at guard? But then you draft the tackle and you got 2 starting guards, and then you may have should have drafted another tackle, but you know, because you never know what Terrence Steele going to do. I said, but to me, Brock Hoffman paid his dues to become the starting center. Okay. So how do you know Brock Hoffman's not even any good when you don't even, you know, you hadn't even seen him play the whole offseason yet? I mean, in preseason. Now, if he sucked in preseason, he sucked the first week of the season, okay, put Cooper Beebe in there. But to me, right now, I thought it was a big mistake for drafting him where he drafted. I thought he should have went running back there, but I'll never stop talking about that. But, you know, as a football player, I love BB. I just think it is going to be tough to play center in the NFL when you didn't play center in college at all.
Chris is an echo chamber. Chris is an echo chamber of us because we thought the same thing. We thought at that point running back was the pick. And then the only difference between us and Chris, I'd say we've kind of been sold on BB a little bit more. But now hearing Chris talk about it, it's kind of making me less confident. But we'll say this, between Hoffman and Beebe, as long as Beebe's not like, here you go, you get the starting role. Whoever is better out of those two, It's probably a good thing. You get the competition between Hoffman and BB, and it's like, okay, you're now a center to BB, right? And let him go at it, right? Because BB's not taking Zach Martin's spot, and he sure as hell isn't taking Tyler Smith's spot.
No.
But in the case where Tyler Guyton ends up being a huge failure, we don't know if he ends up panning out, they could always kick out T. Smith and then put BB in at left guard, right? So you get with BB, I guess, a little bit of flexibility, which is nice. But I agree with Chris. What he just said was our full sentiment during day 2 of the draft.
Yeah, people they just won't listen. They just automatically think he's going to play center, and he can do it. It's tough, man. It is one of the. You know what? I had a conversation with a former professional NFL player.
Yeah, but he doesn't know anything though. He like a guy that I saw on the internet says that BB will be fine. So
yeah, and he played tackle in the league, and he was like, yeah, anybody can play center. And I was like, wait. Have you ever played center? No. So how you going to say it's easy to play something that you never played? I played all 3 positions on the offensive line. I played center, I played guard, and I played left tackle, okay? I started at center most of my career, and then my senior year in high school, they moved me to tackle. It was the toughest thing I ever did because I had to move from what I loved to learn something new. It's tough. It's a learning curve. But when you get to the pros, it's totally different. These guys are bigger, stronger, faster. And you got to know everything. At center, you got to know everybody's job on the offensive line. You got to know everything. So it's not that simple. So, like I say, right now, if I was the Cowboys, I'd go with Hoffman and let's rock and roll. And then if BB wins the battle, a true win of the battle, not just putting him there. If he wins it, I can accept it.
Cool. Yeah, because, at least you're getting the better player for...
Well, and Chris didn't even bring up, that with at center, not only do you need to know the offensive line, but you need to know the defensive schemes. You got to call out the mic. Like, you got to pick up, or tell who's sliding where, right? To be a good center, to be a Travis Frederick type center, you're besides the quarterback, you're one of the most in charge guys on the field.
Yeah, I think you would hope. The Cowboys have done a very solid job drafting offensive linemen. So to take somebody who is going to be vying for that center position, I'm not as worried. It's a hard thing, but like Chris is saying, you can't just step into it. It is nice to hear that he's working on it. I do like that he does have the type of attitude that he has in order to take that kind of offensive line leadership role, who's going to call that stuff out, like having a guy who's going to be a dog and he's going to be aggressive. Like, that's a good thing for us, to have him work into that role, the flexibility to kind of bump it out if need be. But I think at this point, you have to trust the way that the Cowboys draft offensive linemen, not defensive linemen necessarily, but offensive linemen. And if they have an idea that this guy could, if they've eyeball tested, they ran him through it, and they know that he has the capability, great, have him fight for the spot. Best thing for us is that he does have that starting position coming to week 1 of the regular season. That just means he's earned it.
Hopefully.
Well, they're saying right now he's on team 2. They have to earn a spot. So it's not just he's an automatic start.
Yeah.
So can I say one last thing about BB? You see all his film. He's a mauler, right? So he gets off the ball. He got wonderful footwork, but everything changes when you have to snap the ball too. Mm-hmm. The majority of the Cowboys offense, they're in shotgun, right? So he has to snap, and you take away that mauling, persona when you change in positions like that. Man, your footwork is different, and your number one priority is getting the quarterback the ball. When you're a guard, your number one priority is kill the person in front of you.
Yeah.
So, that's why I say it's very tough, man. It's a lot of things you got to do to become a center in the NFL.
Yeah. Even simply enough as just getting your snap quickness down. So you snap the ball in a half second instead of a second. Yeah, exactly. Our next note here is the battle for wide receiver 3 is off to the races. Both Tolbert and Brooks were targeted heavily.
The Jalens
were targeted heavily.
The Jalens.
Yeah, the Jalens by Prescott in the first team duties, but Turpin was still also targeted heavily in the 7-on-7 drills and catched at least one deep fade in full team drills from Prescott. So Prescott's throwing the ball around. Those are our wide receiver 3's options right there. Tolbert, Brooks, and Turpin. And I guess wide receiver 3 and 4, basically.
Turpin was, man, last year when he had a couple big plays, like Turpin's one of my favorite players to watch, honestly, he is.
When he's making plays,
it's exciting. His one big, I mean, it was pretty much the only exciting play that happened against San Francisco is his big touchdown that he had. But I love watching Turpin. He's a fun guy to watch. And Jalen Tolbert's in his 3rd year here. This is time to shit or get off the pot with him. And then Jalen Brooks, the 7th round from a couple years ago. We'll see what they can do.
He said Stepnoski moved to center and made the Pro Bowl. Stepnoski was always a center. He didn't move to center. He always was a center.
Yeah, but Mark Stepnoski was drafted as an offensive guard and moved to center, is what Ultra Cowboy said.
I'm gonna have to research that. I don't know about that, but okay.
Hey, don't.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Look that up.
Look at Cowboy Chris got. I had a comment up on there, and Cowboy Chris just had to hit it.
I'm so glad I can't read the comments as we're going because I'd be like that the whole time.
Yeah, just
not necessarily like because Chris has obviously been watching the Cowboys for a hell of a longer than I have been, but like I'd always want to just be fighting with chat.
Like, hey, whoa, bring that comment back up. Yeah,
I'd be like, no, like, I don't care what you guys are talking about right now. I need to take chat here. These bastards. I mean, just kidding, chat. We love you. Grab yourself a chat.
Yeah, because I I'm looking that up immediately. I was I don't think that's true.
Okay, I'll get this next one. Trey Lance had several well-placed throws and full-team reps to open practice, including in traffic over the middle that only undrafted wide receiver Corey Crooms, great name, was in position to elevate and grab. It was completed as Lance looks far more comfortable in his process now. I think it's funny. The only wide receiver that's had his height in brackets is Corey Crooms, the undrafted guy who's only 5'11".
Why do him like that?
Yeah, they did him dirty. Undrafted, and he's only 5'11", so he was the only guy that went up and grabbed it. Maybe because they were talking about that he had to jump up and get it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Was in position to elevate and grab it, and then it's like, it was completed.
Yeah, I know that, yeah. That's hilarious. He was the only guy in position to grab it at 5'11". Look, they're just giving context.
Yeah, they're giving him a little
footnotes.
Yeah,
Chris, did you find out the answer?
Ultra Cowboy says Stepnoski was selected by the Dallas Cowboys in the 3rd round of the 1989 NFL draft. He dropped in the draft because the scouts thought he was undersized for the National Football League.
Okay.
The Cowboys switched him to center, although he had never played that position. Well, anyways. Chris is down the K-hole right now.
But they didn't draft him to be a center. I think they just ended up putting him there. Was it a situation? I don't know enough to argue about it. So.
Chris is going to look at it right now. I'll read this one. Looking at some of the defensive rookies, Marshawn Nealon won several reps against the Cowboys starting offensive line, while Maurice Liufau spent most of his practice time rotating between the first and second team. As cornerback, Kalen Carson was assigned to the boundary for all of his reps. In brackets, and not the nickel.
Oh, I mean, that's good to see that Kalen Carson's already getting some reps in on the outside. I like that. You can never have too many good outside cornerbacks.
Well, Cowboys need Carson to be formidable.
Yeah, they need
him to be able to play in the NFL because that's a thin position for them boys.
Especially right now.
Kalen Carson's the guy from Wake Forest, right?
Yeah.
I do. I also love to see both these things. I love to see that Nealon winning some reps out there. Mind you, of course, it's OTAs, so you better be winning reps.
Nealon's a big boy too, man.
Yeah, and Liufau, getting ran around the field there, first and second team opportunities, and I like that. I like to see that he's out there getting rotated because I did also read. Oh, and they might. Oh, okay, it's coming up here. I won't spoil that. I'll hold off.
Can I say this? Can I say this one? Can I do this next one?
Yeah.
Remember the famed, here we go, cadence that Dak Prescott brought to the offense last year? Well, it was loud and proud once again at practice as he looks to take the confidence he built in 2023 and Mike McCarthy's first year as a play caller into 2024. Despite a lot of noise around Prescott this offseason, he was the same calm and collected presence in commanding practice on Wednesday.
I'm just glad you went announcer the whole time. Sometimes you'll start and you'll do like the first 2 paragraphs in your radio voice and then just switch it.
Somebody could get switched up to a different accent. That's
Oi!
Yeah.
To Pikey, I'd go straight Pikey.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
I can say Ultra Cowboy actually had something that he was actually positive and true about.
Oh,
he said that he signed from the University of Pittsburgh and came before years started at offensive guard. That's where he played, offensive guard at Pittsburgh. Okay, all right, Ultra, congratulations, you won one.
You son of a bitch.
Ultra Cowboy.
Got one.
You got one.
But again, is that necessarily like that's not the? I don't think taking a guy that played guard and moving him to center is the normal thing that happens in the NFL. So it's not necessarily a good strategy to rely on.
It's always difficult to take a player from college and switch their position in the NFL. Like it doesn't necessarily pan out on the plus side for your chances of having success.
But then Ultra Cowboy, he played tackle in high school also. So yeah, he's offensive line.
So the good thing about, and going back to the BB pick here, the Cowboys, we preached them picking BPA, right? We all, as us here in the room, we considered ourselves BPA boys, even though we're all grown adults. We were BPA boys. And I think that's what the Cowboys essentially did in this draft. BB on their board was the best player at the time. And they took him and said, hey, he's done certain things. He's played certain spots and could be a depth piece. Because even if Hoffman is the center this year, at least you have a contingency plan for Zach Martin, who's getting a little older, and Tyler Smith, who's still new in the league. And so you have a nice piece, even if a third round player isn't necessarily a starter in most cases, right? So if you can get a guy that can battle for a starting position, and then at very least be a nice depth piece for multiple positions, that is a win.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm really like. Anything more than that is a victory on that pick.
Like he's probably not going to start.
Exactly. I'm not at this point. I'm thinking Hoffman will be the starting center, but I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year we see that switch out and BB, after a couple of weeks of practicing and getting his NFL speed up to par, he could, turn out to be
take it.
the starter.
That's why when we took BB at 73, it would have been nice to get a running back, because any of those running backs that were available at that point would have been thrusted into basically the starting role for the Cowboys.
Yep. Before we go to the next one, my question is, are we gonna keep that up there, or what's the next thing?
Do you know how many times I've used that? Like, we've been talking about random shit, and I look up and it's there.
Coming to season, are we gonna?
I want to take a picture with it when I come to Chilliwack. Leave it there.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we just. It's a good aesthetic. It's a good aesthetic. We could have we got the mini board still. That I think we should screw the mini board into the wall.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I don't know if we make one of them the seasons, the actual season.
That's what we got, the mini boards.
Okay.
Not to mention, we could extend this now.
I mean, yeah, I'll just
we could extend whiteboard the whole way, and then just have a ladder there. All right, let's get this next one.
Okay, Mike Zimmer and others have discussed the likely usage of 3 linebackers, and this is what I was going to speak about, but then I saw that it was already here when I was talking about.
Oh, you looked ahead.
Yeah, it's not it.
Nice one.
What's up, Rue?
We've got Clark, Kendricks, and Leafau were the ones taking first team reps on Wednesday, with Overshown obviously still
lurking in the shadows.
Figures to factor into that equation when he's medically cleared later this offseason. So let's just. The question I have that comes up here is, how do you feel about this linebacker group compared to last year? Clark, Kendricks, Leafau, Overshown.
Way better.
Yeah.
I feel really good about it. I know earlier on in chat, they were arguing about the linebacker room. And I mean, Ultra was saying that the linebacker room is going to be deadly this year. Does
that change your opinion, Ed?
No.
Yeah, it makes me nervous about it now.
I think I'm ecstatic about it. I think they got more athletic.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to get bullied as much as they did last year. Last year was just horrible. How the Cowboys linebackers got bullied in games. I don't think this group will get bullied. I'm really happy. I want to see these guys play. I really do. I think this is right now the most exciting room on the Cowboys is the linebackers because we don't know.
Yeah.
And just these rookies and everything, just watching them play in college and everything. I'm excited to see Overshown back on the field.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Kendricks because he's a veteran and he's an attack linebacker. So I'm really excited.
And what about where's your excitement level? And maybe I can peek it a little. Crack him if you got him. Maybe I can peek it a little for you guys right here. What do you think of Damone Clark? What are your expectations with Damone Clark playing with an Eric Kendricks in the middle and having that?
I don't
support?
think Damone Clark should start at all.
Really?
No, because he was the one that was getting bullied all last year.
But I think that was because he was thrusted in his spot where he shouldn't have been, Chris. Like he was playing Mike when he should have been playing like a Sam role, right? Because he had Marquez Bell, who was essentially playing what Damone Clark's going to play this year, right? So I think he was getting bullied because he was the vocal point of the offensive run plan. Where now, if you have Kendricks taking that spot, maybe we see Damone Clark in the spot that he should naturally be in.
Well, I guess that's to be seen. If it works, if he's playing a Sam, I just can't get that image out of that Buffalo game when I was in Chilliwack.
Yeah, you were sitting on the couch right beside him.
And they replay him getting smashed over and over and over, and it was
bad.
It was bad. And even in the Dolphin game, getting smashed over and over, and I was just like, come on, we got to get better at this position. But if they move into Sam and if he improves, okay. But I really want to see the rookies on the field in Overshown. Overshown is a rookie anyway.
Yeah, he redshirted. He redshirted last year, essentially.
Yeah, he's a red shirt. So I want to see Overshown and the rookie from Notre Dame on the field. I want them. I want those guys on the field.
I agree.
Oh yeah, agreed. Adam, take this one.
As Lance continues to grow more comfortable, he has found a pair of receiving weapons that have proved to be consistent for him. Rookie Ryan Flournoy and Jalen Cropper. Flournoy displayed strong hands on a pair of difficult grabs on Wednesday, while Cropper was able to make grabs in tight windows and leak across the middle of the field for would-be yards after catch.
I mean, like Chris said, no one's taking anyone's head off, right? So
I'd like to. I mean, can we stop drafting Jalen's? Like we got Jalen Cropper, Jalen Brooks, and Jalen Tolbert.
Jerry must have.
If you're a Jalen, you get drafted by the Cowboys.
Yeah, you're getting brought on.
Jerry must have had a dream like 5 or 6 years ago where
it's just said on a chalkboard, Jalen wide receiver.
Yeah,
that's all it was given was Jalen and wide receiver. Yeah. That was it.
And so he's been on a mission. Next point here. While he was off to the side while still rehabbing from his ACL injury, Overshown looks considerably bigger. I think he was up between 13 and 15 pounds or something like that in his upper body. So he's got little peg legs, but he's thick up top.
He's like he couldn't train legs, so he just did some tren, and he just got yoked up top.
Oh, there we go. He said that he added 12 to 13 pounds. In his role. And that's a significant amount of weight. What we're seeing too with linebackers is
it's just a belly. It's just a 12 pound.
Just 12 pounds. 12 pounds.
Just a little pot belly.
Yeah. What we do see with linebackers, and I think it's really changed, is because when I was looking at during the draft, actually, I was just looking at what are some ideal physical stats for just height and weight for a linebacker, and it used to be 6'2", 6'3", 250. But now the trend seems to be that same height, or even 6'1", but 230.
Yeah, 230,
235. That's where guys are.
There was only one big, the only big linebacker was our guy Peyton Wilson. He was the only guy that was 6'4", above 230 something, right?
Yeah,
so you're right, and
so
having Overshown juiced up a bit.
That puts Overshown right in that
juicy
235.
Does it make you worry though? Because he's coming off a leg injury, and now you're adding this extra muscle mass and size up top. I guess it's all over, but you're now running on a bigger frame.
I don't think so. I mean, if he gained 20 pounds or 25, I'd be concerned. I mean, 12 pounds of muscle. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Hey, I'm happy.
He's
take
been,
that.
and he's
I'm happy.
Yeah, and he's basically been training that size almost since he's been injured. Like he hasn't hit the field lighter than that.
Not stoked that I wish he would have stayed 35 and not went to 13.
Yeah, I don't like
Is that what he moved to?
Yeah, he went
13?
to 13. Yeah.
Wow.
Gallup's number.
I kind of wish he or went 0. Like if he would have been the first guy that got 0, I would have been cool with. But the Cowboys are reluctant.
I wish he would have went to 0. That's what he had at Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Cowboys won't let anyone but Rowdy take 0, right?
Fucking Rowdy. Speaking of
That's
numbers,
ridiculous.
I low key want to get myself a Zeke 15, to be honest. I think that might be one of my first jerseys because I know I'm going back to Zeke and he was in the first topic, but the first time he gets a first down and I'm able to do the feed him with that 15, that 1-5.
You just want
baby.
You just want a Bayless dance with that.
I want to do it all.
Just want a Bayless dance that.
That was a coordinated effort between the Cowboys and Zeke to just increase jersey
guys
sales.
have to get it. They're like, well, so many guys got the jersey for $20 on the discount shelf. I got this one. On the flip side, Mozzie Smith looks to be hovering around the same weight that he ended the season at in 2023. He was off to the side with Osa Odigizua in street clothes as his upper body looked considerably slimmer than when he arrived a year ago. When asked about an ideal playing weight in 2024, for Smith, head coach Mike McCarthy declined to comment.
And that's our Michigan boy here, Chris.
That's our Michigan
Come
boy.
on, Chris. You have to answer. You have to answer for him, Chris.
This is disappointing to me. We all preach about Mozzie being too light on our show on the Cowboy Up podcast on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock.
Shout out.
Anyway,
Shout out.
Cowboys up.
I actually posted a picture of when I met Mozzie. Okay, and when I met him at the sports con in Dallas. I was bigger than Mozzie. At the time, I am 6'2.5". I am 320. Mozzie was smaller than me. He was under 300 pounds, and he plays defensive tackle, one technique.
In the NFL.
In the NFL. Under 300 pounds.
That's not good.
It's not good. I don't care. The great Aaron Donald is a defensive tackle, but he didn't play one technique. He played a 3 technique. The difference, guys, let me explain so some people don't know the difference between a 1, 2, and a 3.
No,
that wouldn't be us.
That wouldn't be us, right, Chris?
I was going to explain it, but if you want to, then you go.
A 1 technique is basically off a shoulder of a center, either on the right or the left. Okay? Basically, he's a nose guard, but they'll call him a 1. A 3 technique is head up on a guard or on the outside shoulder of the guard. That's what Aaron Donald played. Okay? So he was never man up on a center. He was always isolated on the guard. So when you play in 1 technique, you got 2 people eligible to block you, the center and the guard. So at that position, you have to be big enough, strong enough to take on both blocks. Okay? In the NFL, if you are under 300 pounds, it's a problem.
Hey, Chris, check out this video we got.
Yeah.
Who are you there with that middle schooler?
Wait a second. Wait a second. Which one plays in the NFL here?
The one on the right, Mozzie Smith. But he was taller than me.
Yeah.
But I was bigger than him.
Chris, I would love to have you line up at one tech.
Hey, I'm just an old offensive lineman. I hated defense. There's too many people.
And The Rock was there?
No, there's a
The Rock. Yeah.
You, Mozzie, and The Rock?
Hey, so Chris, are you saying then? Sorry, because I was looking for this, so I was tuning in and out of your combo there. Is Mozzie Smith better placed for that 1 tech?
No, if they're gonna play him, they need to play him like a Digizua. Digizua is a 3 tech. Okay, a 1 tech, man, is like Wolford. The big. He needs to be 340, 345. A monster. I call them the fire hydrants. Okay, you want somebody that can't be moved at a 1 tech. And a lot of time when Mozzie did play, he was on skates, and I was like, dude, he was never on skates at Michigan. Skates mean you get blocked down the field. That's what, it looked like you're on roller skates and they're pushing you back. So that's what we say. He's on skates. So, and when you see him and he's on skates, and I was like, at Michigan, Mozzie was never on skates because Mozzie was over 300 pounds easy. He was 330 at Michigan. So in the NFL, he's under 300 pounds against the best offensive lineman in the world. It don't work. So if he's hovering around the same weight, that's going to be a problem.
Unless they're planning on putting him at 3 technique, right?
But Odigizua is already there.
But so this is my question, and this is
so then who fills in the?
So when you have certain plays, right? You have your 3 technique, so you have a 3 technique and a 1 technique in at the same time. So you have the 1 technique hovering. He's going to take the double teams, and then you have your 3 technique. So is there no way to kind of offset that by having say on early running downs I know Mike Zimmer has that double A gap that he likes to run with linebackers. Is that something that could help Mozzie, or is that something that could at least make offenses not be able to just make him on skates and take him out of the play in running downs?
Well, double A gap is basically designed for a blitz, so you can be man up, right? Okay. Because a lot of times the Cowboys used to present that and they would back out with their linebackers, right? But once you back out, it's freeing up the center to double with the guard. So it's not helping any. I mean, once you back out of it, there's no more 1-and-1s. You just run your regular pass. Your regular pass back, block or run block. So to me, a double A is a show. So it doesn't, me playing center, if I see a double A coming up, of course, my first job is the first person inside to me on the strong side. If that guy disappears, I'm going back to my backside to double team that guy. Okay? So if you back out, you made it easier for me. So if you're gonna run the double A, you gotta run it and you gotta get there so you can free up so everybody can be man to man. Now if Mozzie's man to man, okay, I'm giving him a 50-50 chance to win. But when he's double teamed constantly, and you don't have the weight to stop it, or are you just on skates for the whole game? And then the Cowboy fans like me will watch tape and say, damn, he's on skates all day. Why is he even in there?
Yep.
So that's all I'm saying. I love y'all know I love
we know.
to death. He's a Michigan guy.
Yep.
I love it. I just hated that when he came to the pros, he changed his whole body type.
Yeah.
For a position that you can't change. You need to be a big guy. On the NFL and football, certain positions you need to be big. And that position, he needs to be big.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more, guys. Hey, what a great show. Cowboys Chris, we always love and appreciate you having you on, my man. Give everyone watching a place where they can find you, man.
All right. On TikTok, you can find me at Dallas Cowboy Chris. On Instagram, Dallas Cowboy Chris 87. I was also on Thread. On X, you can find me at Stop6Chris. And on Facebook, that's my name, Christopher Lee.
I thought you were going to be Mozzie's daddy name because you to me looked like the NFL player in that picture. You look like you were about to blitz right or block Mozzie, no problem. Chris, we love and appreciate having you on. Hey, man, it's great. We're talking about OTAs. That means that the Cowboy season is just around the corner, fellas.
Yay. I can't wait.
Hey, everyone out there that stuck around with us, crack them if you got them, son. Have a good Sunday night, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Crack them if you got them.